Hi everyone, this is a yoga practice for your sore, achy feet. The intention is to help strengthen your feet and your ankles and help you work a little bit on balance as well. So if you would for this practice, you'll need a chair, a couple of blocks if you have them, and either a rolled up towel or a rolled up blanket. You'll also need, if you have it, a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball, or you can even have a golf ball. Totally fine. Whatever works for you. If you don't have any of that, that's totally fine. I'll give you modifications for it. If you would, please come to a good seated position on your mat. Sit well, crossing your shins one in front of the other. Leaning forward, lifting your sitting bones off the mat, sitting them back and apart. Maybe lifting your sitting bones internally, rotating your thighs, fingertips next to your hips. Lift up through the collarbones and the crown of the head, tone your belly. Lengthen just the tip of your tailbone. Take a deep breath in. Exhale your hands to your upper thighs. Close your eyes. Tilt your chin down or soften your gaze. Close your eyes if you'd like. And just begin to notice your breath. We're going to be moving through practice today with the idea of noticing our habits. In yogic terms, there's a niyama. Niyama is a practice for helping you work with yourself both internally and externally in the world. But for this niyama, it's the idea of self-study. If we can learn to self-study and notice the habits that we form, whether it's a breathing habit or a sitting habit or a walking habit, if we can become a detective, we can perhaps begin to notice what serves us well and maybe what it's time to change, the habits that maybe no longer serve us, that we've been holding in our body, whether it's through inattention or just through moving without paying any mind at all. Be a detective for yourself. And for today's practice, if you'd open your eyes, bring your hands together in front of your heart space. Breathe in. Exhale that. Press your palms together. Set an intention for your practice based on the concept of self-study, non-judgment. Just noticing how you move and maybe noticing what serves you well and what doesn't any longer. Release your hands to your upper thighs. Take your shoulders up, back, and broaden them. We're going to begin with some pranayama breathing. So for your pranayama breathing, make sure your mat is clear of chairs and other props. Take your fingertips next to your hips. And we'll begin with a 3-part Taoist breath. So if you would, begin by stretching your arms wide, opening your collarbones. Inhale. Exhale, bring those hands behind the back of the skull like you're stretching. Then press the palms towards the side walls. Breathe. Inhale, take your fingertips to your shoulders. Exhale, take your palms forward, arching into a cat spine. Inhale, the arms overhead. Exhale, hinge forward at the hip creases, taking your palms behind you. You can take the backs of your palms to the floor in a modified child's pose. Breathe in and out. And then we'll repeat that a few more times. So as you inhale, lift the torso. Open those arms wide. Exhale, stretch the palms behind the back of the skull. Press the palms towards the sides of the rooms like you're reaching towards infinity. Good. Inhale, fingertips to your shoulders. Exhale, those palms forward, arch your spine. Inhale, the hands overhead, reach up to the sky. Exhale, hinge forward at your hip creases, palms to the floor, relaxing in your modified child's pose.
Noticing the opening in your lower back and your spine. And we'll repeat that one more time.
Inhaling, opening the arms wide. Exhale, cross them behind your back of your skull. Palms reach to the sides of the room like you're holding up Roman Colosseums. Good. Inhale, fingertips to your shoulders. Exhale, arch your spine. Press those palms forward. Inhale the arms overhead. Look up at the sky, the clouds rolling by.
Exhale, hinge forward, arms come behind you. Backs of the hands on the floor, palms towards the sky. Take a couple deep breaths in and out. Just allowing yourself to open up. And then when you're ready, please lift your torso.
Good. We're going to start our practice today with a foot massage. So bring your feet in front of you. Wiggle them back and forth. As we move through class today, I'll be mirroring you. That means when I say move your right hand, I'll be moving my left hand. When I say move your right foot, I'll be moving my left foot. So when you're ready, take your left foot, cross it over top of that right thigh. Take your hands and start rubbing through the sole of the foot from front to back, back to front, just noticing how your foot feels. Yeah, good, excellent. Take your fingers and interlace your fingers in between the toes, abducting the toes. That means spreading them apart. And when you're ready, start to circle your ankle. First in one direction, and then the other way. Good. When you're ready, come on back to center. Wiggle the foot out. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. See if you can keep those toes spread apart as you release the fingers away. Good. Take a hold of the top of the foot. Stretch that foot towards the back of the room. If you're sickling your foot, keep that top of the foot in line with the front shin. Excellent. Exhale, flex that foot, bringing the toes back towards the knee. Good. Release that out, rub through the sole of the foot again. From toes to heel, heel to toe. Even activating your fingers on the top of the foot. Grab a hold of the big toe mound of the foot, the little toe mound of the foot. Stretch that top of the foot apart. Give it a good wiggle. Starting to restore flexibility to the foot itself. Release that. Good. Clap the foot out. And then give the foot a good paddle. Take a fist, gently tap the sole of the foot. Grab a hold of the ankle, shake it out. Just letting that foot open up. Grab a hold of the outer edge of the foot, hug that shin in. Open the hip out a little bit. Wiggling the foot back and forth. Release that foot down on the ground. Bring the top of the hip back into the socket. Good. Just pause and notice how one foot feels different from the other. Maybe one foot feels a little more alive. Maybe even the color of the feet is different. Let's do the other side. So cross that left foot over top of the right knee and begin to rub through the soles of the feet. From the toes to the heel. Finding all the spots in your feet. Noticing one foot feels different than the other. It's not to judge, it's just to notice. Be a detective. What's different? Maybe why is it different from one side to the other? How are you walking differently? What are your feet telling you? When you're ready, if you can, interlace your fingers in between the toes, spreading those toes apart. Good. Maybe rubbing the toes, twisting and pulling each one, circling the ankle. First in one direction, going slow. Yeah. Then the other way, taking your time, coming on back to center, wiggling the foot out, come to a place of stillness, spread the fingers, spread the toes. As you peel that hand off, keep those toes spread, then point the foot, making sure you're not sickling it. Keep that foot in line with the shin, then flex it, going in the other direction. Release that, twist and pull each toe, maybe rub through the sole of the foot again, even the top of the foot itself. Good. The toes, the mounds, even all the way through the heel. Release that out. Grab a hold of the big toe mound of the foot, not the toe itself, but the mound, the base of the toe, the little toe mound. Give a good stretch to the foot. Good. Wiggle it. You're starting to restore some flexibility in that foot. Release that. Clap the foot. Then paddle the sole of the foot. You're doing a great job. Make a fist. Compassionately tap the sole of the foot. Just activating some of the nerves at the bottom of the feet. Release that. Grab a hold of the ankle. Release that foot. Just shake it out. Let the foot be loose. Relax. Good. Grab a hold of the outer edge of the foot. Hug the shin in. Open that hip out. Wiggling back and forth. Excellent. Release that out in front of you. Bring the hip back into the socket. As we move through the class today, you'll hear me referring to the four corners of the foot. That means the big toe mound of the foot, the little toe mound of the foot, the inner heel, and the outer heel. So 4 corners of the foot, really important as we talk about foot health and balance. Good. Lean back, wiggle your feet back and forth. Excellent. Please come to a staff position, Dandasana. Your feet are out in front of you, your toes are flexed, your toes pointing towards the ceiling. Good. Lift your heart space, collarbones, tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone. Knees are pointing towards the ceiling, toes are pointing towards the ceiling. What I'd like you to do is begin to point one foot and then flex it. Doesn't matter which foot you point, just switch feet as you point and flex. Beginning to work through your feet, strengthening your feet, pointing and flexing, pointing and flexing, noticing whether you sickle your foot, noticing that your feet should be staying in line with your shins. Point and flex a few more times. Good. Release that out. Move your feet back and forth. Take a little bit of a windshield wiper. Bend the soles, bend your knees, soles of the feet on the floor. Good. Take that right foot forward, lift the heel, and start to circle the ankle. First in one direction, and then in the other. Go slow. If you need to grab a hold of the outer edge of the back of the knee, you can do that, the back of the thigh. So you're circling the ankle, maybe go slow. See if you can draw a huge circle with the big toe. Go in the other direction. Bend that knee, sole of foot on the floor. Slide that other heel forward. Maybe lift the leg. Grab a hold of the upper thigh. Begin to circle this ankle. Taking your time. Drawing a big circle with your foot. Collarbones lifted. Back of the skull is back. Back of the neck is long. Circle in the other direction. Excellent. You're doing a great job. When you're ready, release that foot down. Slide the other foot forward. Both feet are pressing forward. Feet are flexed. Toes facing the ceiling, knees facing the ceiling. Your knees and legs are about hip distance apart. Fingertips behind you. Lift your collarbones. Good. Breathe in and out. For this next stretch, I'd like to work on the outer edge of the leg. So what's going to happen is we're going to be actually pressing through the outer edge, the baby toe side of the foot, towards the side of the room. Good. Baby toe side of the foot towards the outer edge of your body. Taking it in and out. Working on the interior tibialis. Sometimes we collapse our feet in as we're standing. And that means that outer edge of the shin and calf needs to be strengthened. It's maybe not working as strongly as it could. If this doesn't feel like anything is happening for you, you can grab a hold of one of those straps if you'd like, and you can use the strap to be working towards the strap. strap would be around the big toe mounds of your foot, little toe mounds of your foot. And you wiggle the foot back and forth. If you have one of those stretchy bands, you can actually work using those stretchy bands to really begin to strengthen that outer edge of the foot. When you're ready, release that out. Shake the toes out. Good. Shake the knees out. Bend your feet, soles of the feet on the floor. I'd like you to pretend like you have a towel underneath your toes, and I'd like you to begin to squinch the towel towards your heels by wiggling your toes, lifting them and squinching that towel up towards your heels. Release that, and then take the towel and press it in the other direction towards the front of the room. Good. If it's too much for you to do with both feet at once, you can squinch it with first one foot, taking your time, and then pressing it out towards the front of the room. Excellent. Working on foot health. Release that. Lift and spread the toes. Work on the other side. Drawing that imaginary towel in towards your heels. Excellent. And then pressing it back out, straightening it out. Bringing it towards the front of the room. Lift and spread those toes. Release the foot down. It is really important to work on foot health. 25% of the bones in our body are from the ankle down. And in fact, 25% of the muscles in our body are from the ankle down. So if we can work on foot health, we can work on all of the postures and all of the alignment that comes above our feet. If we have a habit of standing with our feet turned out, for instance, it changes our posture dramatically. So one of the reasons we work on foot health is to notice our habits and begin to help us work on our posture and help us work on feeling better. So when you're ready, good. What I'd like you to do with your knees bent, soles of the feet on the floor, I'd like you to lift and spread your toes and maybe wiggle them like you're waving hello. There you go. Wave hello first with one set of toes, then the other. You can even lift your heel, wave hello with those toes. Release that foot down, lift the other heel, wave hello. Just wiggle all those toes. Release them down. Excellent. Can you spread those toes apart? See if you can take and undo the habits of your feet being squished together, adducted inside of shoes, and spread them apart. Down. So you can just slide the toes apart. Relax that. Excellent. If you have a little bit of a cramp in your calf, you can release it, shake it out. Good. Bend your feet, bend your knees, soles of the feet on the floor. Look down at your feet, lift your collarbones. See if you can lift your right big toe and keep all the other toes on the floor. Release it down. Lift your left big toe independently of your other 4 toes on your left foot. Release it down. One more time, lift your right big toe. Set it down. Left big toe. Set it down. Release it out. Good. Now, can you keep your big toe planted and lift the 4 smaller toes? Excellent. Release those down. Switch sides. Plant the big toe on your left foot. Lift the toes of 4 toes of your foot. Release it down one more time. Planting the big toe of your right foot, lifting the 4 smaller toes. Release them down. Switch sides. Plant the big toe. Lift the little toes. Woo! It's work, isn't it? Release it down. Lean back. Shake it out. Windshield wiper. We're going to be moving into a heel and calf series. So for this series, what I'd like you to do is make sure you have a rolled up towel or a blanket nearby, and you'll also need a chair nearby to help you with your balance. If you're using a towel, I'd like you to make sure it's a long roll. You're going to actually tightly roll that towel, so it's like maybe a long cannoli. Set that on your mat. Come to a good standing position. Bring your chair to the other side of that cannoli roll. Good. Maybe turn your chair around so that the higher edge of the chair is facing you. You're standing behind that cannoli roll. Come into your Tadasana mountain pose. Take a look down at your feet. Make sure they are actually making a number 11. So sometimes we have a habit of standing with our feet in turnout. That's useful if you're a dancer or perhaps if you're a duck. But for true posture and true strength in our feet, it's important to have our toes pointing forward, not only as we stand, but as we walk. Sometimes what happens when we have our toes pointed forward and our shoulders back is it tends to press our hips forward. So I'd like you to also back your hips up, maybe bend your knees. So you can back your hips up, beep, beep, towards the back of the room. Lengthen just the tip of the tailbone without pressing your hips forward. You're lengthening the tip of the tailbone. You're lifting your collarbones. You're pressing into the feet to stand tall. Shoulders up, back, and broaden. Make sure your hip is directly above your ankle. It's not pressing forward. If you notice yourself pressing your hips forward, and I'm of course exaggerating, you may notice when you do that the arches of your feet feel sore. That's because you're pressing your weight into the forward parts of your feet. So if you can use your weight over those heels and align your hips over your ankles, you'll notice that your posture improves. Good. So come to a good standing position, Tadasana mountain pose. While you're here, see if you can lift and wiggle your toes. First on one foot, then on the other. Maybe even walk forward and grab a hold of the back of the chair. Shift your weight into your right leg. Lift and wiggle the toes of the left foot. Say hello. Without popping into that left hip, switch sides. Lift and wiggle all your toes. Then come back to a standing position. And you're going to actively spread all your toes, really spread them apart. You're taking them away and you're trying to press something in between the toes. Good. If that causes you to press your hips forward, realign your hips, micro bend in your knees. Good. With your toes spread, can you lift the right heel and bend the top of the right foot? Set it down. Lift the left heel. Set it down. Right heel. Left heel. So we're starting to work on flexibility in the top of the feet. Just lifting and lowering the heels. Excellent. Do that a few more times on each side, just noticing how it feels, noticing if your knees or your feet sickle in. Can you keep all 5 toes in contact with the earth? Can you keep your knee going forward over the center of the foot? Good. Come back to a standing position. Excellent. See if you can lift both heels and lower them down. Lift both heels again. Lower them down, noticing whether you're starting to collapse your knees in. So you're keeping your knees over the center of the foot. Even as you lift and lower, begin to lift and straighten the knees and lower and bend them. Noticing your habits. Excellent. Lifting and lowering. Come on back to the center. I'd like you to take your right foot and I'd like you to step it on top of the rolled up towel or blanket that you have in front of your mat. The heel is on the ground. Now press all 5 toes into that blanket. Good. Notice whether you're leaning back. I'd like you to take the weight of I'd like you to take your hip and bring it over the ankle. Good. You'll notice a stretch out of the calf. Excellent. That's what we're looking for, a stretch in the calf, starting to lengthen those shortened calves. If this is too much for you, you stop here. If you'd like to go deeper, or you're moving my cannoli roll, if you'd like to go deeper, you're going to step that opposite leg to the side of the cannoli roll. Just getting a stretch out of those calves. Breathing in and out, lifting the collarbones. Good. Step that right foot off the roll. You can re-roll it if you need to. Turn it around, step the left toes up onto the cannoli roll, heel is on the floor. Get all 5 toes in contact with the roll so you're not sickling your foot. Good. Shift your hips so that they're directly over your heel. Your knee can be slightly bent, or if it feels good, you can begin to straighten that knee. You'll notice that gives a little more stretch to the calf. You can stretch that back leg forward so it's in line with the front leg. Breathe in and out, just let the calf stretch. Excellent. Good. Step off the cannoli roll. This time I'd like you to take your fingertips to the chair and step your right foot behind you. Right foot comes behind you, all 5 toenails on the ground. So you're not sickling the foot. Now you're getting a stretch out of the top of the foot. Inhaling, lengthening. Exhaling, you can bend that front knee if that feels better for you. Switch sides. If you need to, if that's too much for you stretching on the top of the foot, you can take that cannoli roll behind you and put all 5 toes on the cannoli roll, making sure you're pressing through the baby toe side of the foot equally. So now you're stretching the top of the foot. Breathing in and out. Excellent. Release that. Cannoli roll comes back between your feet in the chair. I'd like you to repeat the calf stretch again. So you're going to step the right toes and the right toe mounds onto the cannoli roll. Left toe is right beside you or beside you on the mat. Good. Let that calf open up. So you're stretching the back of the leg. Switch sides. Getting a calf stretch on the other side. Making sure your hip is over that ankle. Breathing in and out. Step off the cannoli roll. Top of the foot stretch one more time. All 5 toes in contact with the mat. Really stretch it out. Other side. All 5 toes in contact with the mat. So you're stretching the top of the foot. Opening up the shins, the ankle. Release that. Shake both feet out. You can move that cannoli roll. Set it to the back of your mat. Please come to a position where you're standing next to your chair. Your right hand is on the edge of the chair. You're about arm's width away from the chair. Right arm is in front of you. Good. Excellent. Come to a Tadasana mountain pose. We're going to lift the right heel and bend the toes of the right foot. Release down. Lift the left heel. Switch sides. Do that a few more times. Right heel. Left heel. Right heel. Left heel. Come back to center. Now we're going to add up. We're going to lift the right heel. We're going to roll over those toes. Stretch the top of the foot. Come on back. Going slowly. Bending the left foot. Rolling over the toes. Stretching the top of the foot. Coming back. Couple more times. Being gentle. Working on foot strength. This time we're going to roll through the feet, bending the knees as we work through our feet, making sure the knees are coming forward, making sure you're bending without popping your hips. Good, so you'll feel the calves stretch. Excellent. Couple more times, kind of walking the feet and the knees. When you finish, please come back to center. Take a deep breath. I'd like you to inhale and point your foot forward. Exhale, bring it back in line. Point it forward again. Bring it back in line. Again. Bring it back. Again. And back. Other side, point, return, point, return, point, return, point, return. Excellent. Come on back to the center. This time I'd like you to lift the heel of the right foot and press those right toes into the mat to lift the knee. So the toes are what's lifting the knee. You're really working on foot strength. So you're pointing the toes and lifting the knee with the strength of the foot. Release that heel down. Take a breath. If you need to switch to the chair to the other side, you can do that. This time we're going to lift the heel of the left foot, press those toes into the mat so that it lifts the knee off the mat. Good. Sorry, knee comes up towards the ceiling. So you're working on the strength of the feet. Release that down. Step your feet a little bit wider. Excellent. I'd like you to bend your knees. Make sure they're tracking over the center of your foot. Shift your weight to the left, pointing the toes of the right foot. Come through center. Shift your weight to the other side. So you're pointing and flexing the feet. Tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone. Just working on foot strength. Come on back to center. Turn around. Fingertips towards the chair. You're in Tadasana mountain pose. I'd like you to take the toes of your right foot and slide them back behind you. Toenails on the mat. Good. Bring them forward. Release. Switch sides. Toes of the left foot back. All 5 toenails on the mat. Bring them forward. So you're pointing and coming back to center. And pointing and coming back to center. A few more times. Come on back to center. I'd like you to point your toes forward, bring them towards the front of the room, then slide them back under you. Switch sides, left toes forward, your foot is pointed. Bring it back to the center. Couple more times. Good. Now please come on back to the center. You can take out empty coat sleeves. Just lift your feet. Let them move in any way they feel like moving. You may feel some tiredness in your feet. Please come to a standing position, fingertips on the chair. Slide the toes of your right foot forward and towards at an angle towards the front edge of your mat. Lift the toes, flex them. Begin to circle your ankles. Like you're drawing a O with your toes. You're not popping into that left hip, so you're lifted through the hip. Circle the ankles in the other direction. Release that. Coming into your Tadasana. And we go the other way, so the left foot comes forward. We then circle the ankle. Good. And then we circle the other way. Taking your time. Bring that foot down. Shift your weight into your left leg. Bring your right foot forward and at an angle. Point it, then flex it. Point it and flex it. You're lifting through both hips. So you're really working your feet. You're really working your balance. You can even test your balance by releasing your fingertips from the chair. Switch sides. Pointing and flexing. Pointing and flexing. Bring all 5 toes back at the same time. Good. They're all working. Good. Come on back to the center. Your right hand is on the back of the chair. You're in Tadasana mountain pose, hands at your hip crease. The other hand's on the chair. Bend your left knee. Lift the heel. Good. Now lift that knee forward so you're not collapsing into that right hip. And I'd like you to draw small circles with your knee. Flex the foot. The idea is to draw circles with your knee. Good. As you begin to draw circles with that knee, continue to draw them, but see if you can open the hip out. You may notice you're wobbling in that right ankle. That's okay. When you get your knee and hip as wide as you can, I'd like you to circle in the opposite direction. Come on back to center, working on your balance, working on your ankle strength. Release it, shake it out. You can switch that chair to the other side. Come to a good standing position. Excellent. Shift your weight into your left leg without popping the hip. Micro bend that left knee. Excellent. Come up on the toes of the right foot, heel is lifted. When you have your balance, your arm is forward, it's not reaching back on the chair. So shift your arm on the chair if you need to so it can be relaxed. Lift that knee, bring it forward. Foot is flexed. And you begin to gently make small circles with that knee. So the knee is drawing circles. And you begin to open those circles like you're drawing a slinky out towards the right side of the room. When you get to your maximum hip opening, pause and shift the direction of the circles. As you go slow and you close the knee, drawing circles with that knee again. Bring it back to center. Release the foot down. Woof. Shake it out. Empty coat sleeves. Be gentle with yourself. We're going to try a tree pose. So for tree pose, start in Tadasana mountain pose, making sure your feet are parallel to one another, about hip distance apart. Gently shift your weight into your left side without popping that left hip. Toes of the right foot are on the floor. The heel is lifted. Inhale, lift your collarbones. Lift and spread your toes. Shift your weight so your hip is directly above your ankle. Micro bend that knee. Bring that right arm overhead. Reach it wide. You can pivot that left heel so it's on top of the right foot. You can bring the other arm forward if you'd like. Tree pose. If you'd like, you can begin to test your balance, taking your tree pose around your ankles, maybe around either side of the knee. That chair is always there for balance. Lifting, 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 rooting through that standing leg, maybe even bringing it into the inner thighs, opening up. And all that wobbling you're feeling in your foot and your ankle is working on developing your strength in your foot and your ankle. Rooting through all 5 toes, micro bend the knee, muscle energy through the entire body. Lift your collarbones. You can come on back to center. Release it out. Shift your chair around to the other side if you'd like. And we'll do tree pose on the other side. Good. Coming into Tadasana Mountain Pose. Hand is lightly on the back of the chair. Good. You're going to shift your weight into your right leg. Bend the toe, bend the knee of the left foot. Toes are on the floor. You're popping into that hip. So really working through the standing leg. Micro bend in the knees. Feel like you're drawing muscle energy all the way up from the root of the feet all the way up through the hips. You can spin that heel around, rest it on top of the foot. Good. One arm can come overhead, collarbones lifted. The other arm can come overhead, or you can keep it there. Yogi's choice. If you'd like, you can bring that foot around the ankle, around either side of the knee. If you'd like, you can bring it even up into the inner thighs. As long as you're not shifting your hips, there it is, working on the ankles. Your hip is above the ankle. Collarbones are lifted. Good. Breathing in and out. Working on the foot and ankle strength. If your toes are abducted, that means they're spread. You have a wider base for your tree pose. Maybe even widen your fingers like they're reaching up to the sky. There it is. Good. Release that. Come on back to center. Excellent. Shake it out. Turn your chair around. I'd like you to take your fingertips to the top of the chair and walk your feet back. Your hips are above your ankles. Take an L pose. Just pause. Lift and spread your toes. Release them down. Lift just your big toes. And all 4 other toes. Your big toes again. Separately or together. All 4 toes on the other foot. Now press both feet into the floor. Root through the big toe mound, little toe mound of the foot, the inner and the outer heel. For a good L pose, getting a good stretch. Walk your feet towards the chair. Please turn around. Hands to your hip creases, shoulders up and back. We're going to do a series of squats. Just take your hands to your hip creases. Feet are parallel to one another, hip distance apart. As you begin to bend your knees, make sure your knees are tracking over the center of the foot. Straighten them out. Bend your knees a little bit more. Send your hips towards the chair. Lift your collarbones. And you do a series of squats. See if as you begin to sit farther back, you can imagine that that chair behind you is just out of reach and you need to shift your hips back to sit into that chair. You can't quite get there. Keep those collarbones lifted. Chair squat one more time. Release it out. How are we doing? Excellent. You're doing a great job. You can go ahead and come to a seated position on the chair. Sliding your sitting bones forward. Your feet are as wide as your hips. Your knee is directly above your ankle. Fingertips to the back of the chair. Lift the collarbones. Lift and spread those toes. Maybe even lift the toes off the mat and wave hello. Wiggle them. Good. Release them down. Spread the toes. Release that. Spread them again. Release them. Lift the big toe. Release it. Big toe of the other foot. Release that. Lift the 4 little toes. Release them down. 4 little toes of the other foot. Release them down. Lift all toes. Wiggle them. Shake them out. Spread them apart. Release it down. Lift one heel, then the other heel. Release the heel. Release the heel. Excellent. Inhale, lift your collarbones. Exhale, that right hand comes to the back of the chair, left hand to the outer edge of that right knee for a gentle twist. Just starting to twist the spine. Come on back to center, switch sides. Lifting the collarbones, keeping the hips in line with one another. The knees want to come along for the ride, so you keep them parallel to one another. Lifting the collarbones for a twist. Coming back to center, untwisting the pose, lean on back. Point your foot, bring it back in line. Point your other foot forward, bring it back in line. Point, flex, point, bring it back. Point it forward, flex it. Point it all 5 toes on the mat, slide it back. One more time, slide the toes of the right foot forward, point the foot, flex it. Baby toe mound working just like the big toe mound, point it again. Slide it back, switch sides. Point, flex, point. Come on back to center. Shake it out. Excellent, you're doing a great job. We're almost finished with our feet exercises. Let's take a break for a moment and do a couple of arm exercises. So if you would, turn your chair around so you can see me and I can see you. Excellent. Front of your sitting bones are on the chair. Collarbones are lifted. Inhale your arms in front of you. Draw your shoulders back. Good. Turn your palms up toward the ceiling. Bend your elbows. Bring them together. Excellent. Lift the elbows. Can you open the hands? Close them. Open. Close. Open. Close. One more time. Open. Close. Release it out. Shake it out. Excellent. Bring your right hand in front of you. The palm is facing up. Can you grab a hold of the palm itself with your left hand and just get a stretch out of that forearm. Be gentle with yourself. If this is enough, you stay here, or you can individually stretch each finger. You're working at the base of the fingers, the base of the knuckles, to draw a gentle stretch on each of the fingers. Individually, being gentle, maybe even stretching the thumb. Shake it out. Other side. Palm faces up. The fingers point towards the ground. You grab a hold of the entire hand, the mounds of the fingers. Give it a good stretch. Good. Now you stretch the index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, pinky. Gentle, gentle. Maybe even the thumb. Shake it out. Good. Bring your hands in front of you. Make a fist. Start to circle your wrists. So you're doing some wrist circles. As you begin to circle your wrists, take your arms out to the side. Collarbones lifted. Pause. Circle in the other direction. As you circle, bring your arms back towards the front of the body. Release it. Shake it on out. Excellent. Please come to a standing position. Bring your chair to the front of your mat. The seat of the chair is facing you. You're going to release your palms onto the chair. Melt your heart space. Can you turn your right fingers toward you? Be gentle. Can you turn your left fingers toward you? So you're getting a forearm stretch. Good. If this is enough for you, you stay here. If you'd like to get a deeper stretch, bend your knees, send your hips towards the back of the room. Maybe lean back a little bit, being super gentle. Just getting a forearm stretch. Good. Coming back to center. Turning those fingers towards the back of the chair. Good. Walk your hips back, heels back. Bend your knees. When you're ready, I'd like you to bend your elbows out to the sides of the chair. Come back to the center. Now, rotate your elbows towards your hips. And as you bend forward, take your elbows in towards the midline. And repeat that. Elbows out. Elbows in. Gentle elbows out. Elbows in. Elbows out. Elbows in. Last time. Elbows out. Elbows in. Come on back to the center. Tadasana mountain pose. Shoulders up, back and broaden. Inhale, bring your arms out to the side, fingertips wide, thumbs facing the ceiling. Can you open your arms behind you just a little bit? Good. Bring them back to the center, turn your palms down. Open your hands behind you again, drawing your shoulder blades together. Release that. Turn your thumbs down. Draw your shoulder blades behind you like you're pressing a big beach ball. Release it one more time. Palms face forward, thumbs up. Inhale, open up like you're reaching a big beach ball behind you. Tone your belly, lengthen your tailbone. Come back to the center. Palms down. Baby fingers, your little fingers come behind you. Release it out. Palms face back, thumbs down. Open that beach ball. Release it out. Shake your hands out. Good, you're doing a great job. Can we do another round of chair squats? This time your hands to your hip creases, shoulders up and back. Inhale, lift through the collarbones. Exhale, bend your knees. Back up your hips, tone your belly. Take a look at your feet. Make sure your knees are tracking over the center of your feet as you squat and lift and squat and lift. This time squat, stay on down. Can you lift your right heel? All 5 toes on the ground. Lift your heart space. Release it down. Lift your left heel. All 5 toes on the ground. Lift your heart space, release it. Again, right heel up, right heel down. Left heel up, left heel down. Inhale, lift your collarbones. Exhale, bend your knees a little bit more. One more time, lift your right heel. Release it. Left heel, release it. Shift your hips back towards the chair. Lift your heel just a little bit. Release it. Other one. Release it. Push your feet into the floor. Come to a standing position. Woo! Shake it out. Excellent. Please come into Tadasana mountain pose. Externally rotate your upper arms. Palms are facing forward. Inhale, your arms overhead. Shoulders away from your ears. Now can you look up? Can you act like you're reaching towards the top of a doorway? Reach really high. Press your feet into the floor, lift your heels so you can reach the top of that doorway. Lift the heels, let the heels go. Inhale, lift them again. Without gripping the toes, exhale, let them go. This time you're going to stay here. You're going to inhale, lengthen, exhale, lean towards your right side for side stretch. Come on back to center. Other way. Stretching the other side. One more time. Stretching to the right. And then to the left. Come on back to center. Sweep those hands down next to you. Shoulder blades up, back and broaden. Shake it out. Grab a hold of your ball. Please set it on front of you in the mat. Turn your chair around so that you have the back of your chair to hold on to. And I'd like you to take that ball and place it under the big toe mound of your right foot. Good. Your heel is on the floor, so make sure your heel is on the floor. I'm turning so you can see it. Drape your toes over the ball, and I'd like you just slowly to move the ball from the big toe mound of the foot to the little toe mound, and then back again, keeping the heel on the ground. Then shift forward a little bit. The ball comes to the mounds of the toes, and you wiggle it back and forth. One more time, shift it forward so it's at the notch below the big toe mound, and it goes back and forth behind those notches, so you're working on the fascia under the feet. Good. Good. Shift that ball. Please bring it to the center of the foot and gently, gently press your foot down like you're trying to vacuum the foot. Like you're reaching even the corners of the feet. Just press that ball into the soles of the feet. You can release the toes down so that you can reach the heels. So you have plenty of balance. Making sure you get the entire foot. You can take it from heel to toe, toe to heel. Go slow. Just noticing where your foot needs a little more attention. And then when you're ready, please switch sides. The left heel stays planted. You start with draping your toes around the ball, so the ball is helping your toes to spread apart as you gently move from the big toes to the little toes, and back again. And then you go from the toes to the toe mounds, noticing one foot feels different than the other. You shift to the space behind the toe mounds. Spend a little extra time where your foot needs it. Every foot is different, each side is different. You may even start working the center of the feet, the arches. Sometimes a small golf ball or rubs ball feels really good to get those really tiny nerves and nerve roots in the feet. You can release the toes down and work on the heels. Good. Then you can remove that ball. Same with your fingertips on the chair. Tadasana mountain pose. We're going to stand on one leg for a count of 20. It's your count. When you're ready, please shift your weight into your right leg. Lift the toes of your left foot off the mat. Right. Lift the heel. Can you balance on that one foot? It's okay if the knee is low. Just see if you can balance for a count of 20. Your count. Seeing if you can use all four corners of your feet, the big toe mound, the little toe mound, the inner and the outer heel. A little bit longer. Release it down. Shake the foot out, whichever foot you did before. You're going to switch sides. Take your time. Lift and spread the toes on your standing leg. Find all four corners of the feet. Really widen your base. And then when you're ready, you can lift that opposite foot off the floor. You can keep your fingertips on the chair if you need the balance, or you can play with your balance and release those fingertips. Maybe you just do one or the other. It's totally fine. Your count of 20. You may find yourself wobbling in your ankles. Just know that means you're working on your ankle strength, on the nerves, the proprioception in your feet, so they do tell you where you are in space, especially your balance. Release that down. Excellent. You can remove the chair from your mat. You can set it to the side. You may want that later for Shavasana, but please come to a supine position on your mat. Excellent. Your knees are bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Excellent. Remove anything that's in the way from your blankets. Shimmy your shoulders under your heart space. I'd like you to inhale and bring your arms over your head like you're making floor angels. Exhale them down. Again. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale them down. We've been working the feet. We're just doing a little bit of work on the upper body, just to counter the footwork. Inhaling and exhaling. Release that down. Please come on back to the center. Knees are bent, soles of the feet on the floor. Grab your right knee and bring it in towards the chest. Right knee in toward your chest. Your shoulders are on the ground, your hips are on the ground. Kind of grab behind the back of that right knee and draw it in towards your chest a little bit more. See if you can reach around and grab a hold of your foot. It's okay if you can't. But the idea is over time to see if you can bend that knee and reach a hold of that right foot. It's really important that we work on reaching our feet. Breathing in and out. If you can grab a hold of that foot, the outer edge of the foot, the inner edge of the foot, lift and spread those toes. Tilt your chin down so you're not hyperextending your neck. Release that out. Please switch sides. So find your center, shoulders under your heart space. Bend your knee or opposite knee. Draw it in toward your chest. You can thread your hands around the outer edge of that knee without judging yourself. Breathing in and out. Inhaling and exhaling. Maybe testing. Can you take those hands to the shin? Draw that knee in a little more deeply. Can you maybe reach in the direction of that left foot? Back of the skull is back of the neck is long. Working on being able to touch our toes and reach our feet. Excellent. Release that out. Take a full body stretch, arms overhead, feet reaching towards the opposite side of the room. Good. Bend your knees, soles of the feet on the floor. Grab both knees, bring them in towards the chest. Wiggle back and forth. Release that left knee down, left foot down. Grab a hold of the outer edge of the right knee with your left hand. Your right hand comes to the side of your blanket, palm facing down. And you're going to bring the right knee towards the opposite side of the room for a modified spinal twist. Come on back to center. Switch sides. Your left knee comes in, right hand goes to the outside of that knee. As you bring it towards the opposite side of the mat for a gentle spinal twist. Good. Please come on back to the center. Take your knees side to side for windshield wiper. Then draw both knees in towards your chest. This time, take your hands around your knees, so your palms are around your knees, your fingers are facing your toes. It's not your fingers facing in towards the insides of your feet. Your fingers are facing your toes. Good, there it is. Elbows are bent, your knees are bent. Relax your feet. Good. Shoulders under your heart space. Now, all I want you to do now is keep your hands where they are, but allow your knees to reach towards the front of the room till your arms straighten. Knees reach towards the front of the room till your arms straighten. You can wiggle back and forth. That's your sacrum. There it is. If you want to put a natural curve back in your lower back, If you want to massage your sacrum, this is a great way to find your sacrum and a great way to release your low back and put that gentle curve back in it. You can release your feet down, slide them all the way forward on the mat. It is time for Shavasana. So for your Shavasana today, if you'd like to have your calves resting on the seat of the chair, you can do that. If you'd like to have your legs up the wall, you can do that. Or you can take your classic Shavasana with your feet just relaxed out in front of you, shoulders shimmied under your heart space, your arms externally rotated. Back of the skull is back, back of the neck is long. You lift your chin just a little bit. Good. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just begin your breathing. Continue your practice of self-study, svadhyaya. You've been working on your feet and doing some pretty intricate work to notice your habits as you move through your feet. You can begin to straighten your feet out as you walk. Straighten your feet, toes point forward, knees point forward. If you can back your hips up so that you're not pressing your pelvis forward, you'll begin undoing lots of the habits that we have as we stand and walk. And you may notice as you begin to undo those habits that your feet actually magically feel better and begin to strengthen. And when the base, the root of your foundation is strong and sturdy, when it's flexible, you'll notice the rest of your posture can also fall into alignment. Using your breathing, soften the skin on your face, cheeks, cheekbones, your jaw. Scan through your body and just notice how you feel, especially your feet. Enjoy the depth of your Shavasana. You can stay in Shavasana as long as you wish. But when you're ready, please begin to bring your energy back into the room, taking your time. Maybe wiggling your fingers, your toes, your wrists, your ankles, moving in any way that feels good to you. Maybe even stretching overhead. And then rolling to one side, bending your knees, drawing them in towards your chest. Just pausing. You're in that fetal position. Taking a look inside. Where the beauty of svadhyaya, self-study, is we can not only study our outer body, but our inner habits of our thoughts, the train of thought that goes through us. As we begin to notice our habits, we can notice those habits that serve us and perhaps those that no longer serve us. And we can make a choice was to shift those habits that no longer serve us into habits that are a little more life affirming. The choice is yours. When you're ready, continue rolling to your side. Please come to a good seated position. Sitting in Sukhasana. Sit tall, sit well. Shoulders up, back, and broaden. Your hands on your upper thighs. Your chin is slightly tilted. Your eyes are closed or your gaze is gently softened. Take a deep breath in. Exhale that. Inhale in again. Exhale that. One more time. Inhale in. Exhale that. Inhale your hands together into prayer pose, Anjali Mudra in front of your heart space. This week as you take a yoga practice off your mat and out into the world, the invitation is this. Watch your thoughts. They become your words. Watch your words. They become actions. Watch your actions. They become your habits. Watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. Namaste. Thank you for practicing today. Have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope your feet feel amazing.